Today, we've got two guests back on the show who've never met each other, but they've both been on here before. Robert, who's generated over $10 million of sales with his brand on Amazon and Walmart, and Kseniia, who used Project X strategies to launch her first product. And now this year, she's about to hit 7 figures for the first time. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Not sure on what main image you should choose from? Or maybe you don't know whether buyers would be interested in your product at a certain price point. Perhaps you want feedback on your new brand or company logo. Get instant and detailed market feedback from actual Amazon Prime members by using Helium 10 Audience. Just enter in your poll or questions, and within a short period of time, 50 to 100 or even more Amazon buyers will give you detailed feedback on what resonates with them the most. For more information, go to h10.me/audience. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I'm your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And we've got a couple of serious sellers back on the show. Robert for the second time, Kseniia for the third and a half time. Like, we had her on a little Prime Day special here. But welcome back to the show, guys. Your first time meeting each other was today, right? You had no idea who each other was?
No idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love doing that. I love bringing different sellers who maybe under other circumstances might never have known each other. So it's really good to see that people from all walks of life have success on Amazon. Now, if you want to get the backstory of Robert, his first episode was on 448. So we're not going to go too much into his backstory here. Maybe we'll touch a little bit on it, but 448 is a good one to see his episode. And then Kseniia has been on, I think her first was episode 320. And then she was back on episode 441. So we're really close to Robert's episode there, talking about how she 10x her sales from that first episode. Today, I'm not sure what we're gonna completely know about. We're gonna catch up with them. Might be up, might be down, but hey, we keep it real here. We're not here to make it seem like everybody who comes on is gonna 10x their sales. That's not why we brought her on the last time. But let's see what happens. So first of all, Robert, the one thing that maybe people who listen to your episode that stood out was how you were still working at, I don't remember, it was like Microsoft or something like that for years and years, even though you were already a successful Amazon seller, and that you had just around that time finally was like, all right, I'm going to quit the day job. So, you have a couple years maybe under your belt, not working for the man, as it were. So how's that been? How's that transition been from so long being like the corporate world and stuff, and now being your own boss kind of?
I think last time I was on was around that time that I had just quit or was about to quit or something. But yeah, I was at Microsoft for a few years. My background is in corporate finance, and I started Amazon kind of like a side venture back in 2017, 2019. I launched the current brand that I have, but I sort of held on as long as I could, had a whole team and everything before I finally quit. And around that time was when we were going into physical retail, and we had got our first sort of big contract. So, it was kind of just time, the amount of time it was taking, the amount of efforts it took to execute that program. Just had to do it. And it's now been a little under 2 years. And it's amazing. I mean, just the fact, I was there for a reason, and corporate served this purpose. I think I'm always able to say that I used to work for Microsoft, and that's kind of level setting, very easy to tell somebody. But at the same time, obviously, it just wasn't for me. From the day I joined Microsoft, I already knew that I wanted to quit. I already had the Amazon business and everything. It was just, really just the golden handcuffs, as they call them. But I haven't thought about going back any single time in this past year plus. So, yeah, thankfully, any day that I get to do this has really been a blessing. It really doesn't feel like work. So,
what would you say were the effects of it as far as on your Amazon business, like having more time to focus, like, did it stress you out more? Or was it the opposite? Were you able to take care of things that might have slipped under the cracks? Were you able to scale faster, you think? What were the differences on that part of things?
It's hard to quantify it in that sense. But basically, the role I had at Microsoft, I was a senior finance manager. My team was in the West Coast at the headquarters, but I'm based in the East Coast. So it wasn't the amount of necessarily time it was taking. Quite frankly, I had a pretty sweet sort of setup where it didn't take a lot of time, right? And that's what made it even harder, because the more you get paid and the less you kind of work, of course, that just sounds like a dream, right? If I just mentioned it to friends or just talked to people about it, like what are you doing? What are you thinking of quitting for? But it was just the mental sort of real estate. The real estate it took in my mind. Even if I only had one meeting that day or two meetings that day, it was just kind of thinking of like, oh, I have that meeting coming up, or just like I have to do this, or the feeling of like not giving something my all. I'm kind of like all or nothing type of guy. And so like just having to like almost feel fake in the way that I showed up to work. And they still thought I was doing a good job. We had reviews and I was kind of doing okay and good on them. But internally, I just felt terrible, and then I just felt like if I could focus all the time, on cafe, it would unlock a lot of other things. And it has, it has allowed me to get the team into more of a rhythm in the way that we, run meetings and run cadences for certain product development, for sales, and et cetera. Whereas before, it could have been interrupted at any given moment, right? Because basically I had a job. So sort of could always take that backseat. So yeah, it's been a ride.
All right, interesting. I think that's something that Amazon sellers out there, once they hit a certain level, if they were working, is like a universal question. All right, at what point do I give up the steadiness of income and the reliability and the insurance and things like that, and go focus solely on my Amazon business? For the people who already are out of the corporate world, once they start their Amazon business, well, it's they're just all in from day one, kind of, so they don't have that option. But I think the answer is it's different strokes for different folks. Like you probably waited the longest, more than anybody I've known. What wasn't it like even after you started your Amazon business, like a good 3-4 years?
Yeah, it was about.
You already hit multiple 7 figures by that time.
Yeah. We had sold a total of maybe like 12 million or so before I quit, and we rolled out 4,000 Walmart stores, and then I quit basically.
And then he was still rolling out 4,000 Walmart stores with his product, and then he's like, you know what? Yeah, I think it's time now. But that just shows you that's not the wrong choice.
No,
there's other people who.
We had no
quit
room.
After one month, and they're already, that's not necessarily the wrong choice. It's whatever works for you.
There was no room for error. If I messed any of that up, not only would I, need a job, I would be way in debt, so there's one way to look at it, but also like I needed to make, the focus was there. That was my full-time job. I always say Amazon was my full-time job, and then I had kind of a side job in corporate.
All right. So now going back to Kseniia, first of all, I'm not sure, I don't remember the kind of things we talk about all the time. My memory is so bad. But then, Mel gave me some notes. This wasn't on there, but before you started on Amazon, like I do have in my notes here that you were doing like selling collectibles on eBay from Russia and things like that. But at any point while you were doing Amazon, did you also have a day job, or you were 100% your e-commerce business from day one?
100% e-commerce. No
it's
day job.
A great contrast. I didn't even plan that, but this is perfect. It's to have the contrast here. Now, I remember one thing that was kind of like the highlight of your old episodes is the way that you discovered and launched some of those first products that brought you success was like using the Project X method. So that brand that you started back in 2021, 2022, whenever it was, are you still selling that brand today? The successful one?
Yep, still selling. I had to change a little bit the product line and expand it, but yeah, the first product from which one it started, still there, still selling. It was exactly 3 years ago, actually, in August 2021.
Wow. Okay. Perfect. Now, the last time we talked back in 2023, I think that some of your closing comments about your goals was, hey, you wanted to kind of like focus on building the brand a little bit more. I mean, building the brand in the figurative sense, not just expanding the products, but like actually building a brand. And what did you do to try to do that, and how has those efforts worked out?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is what happened after last we talked, is that in 2023, I lost like 40% of my sales.
Wow.
So it's
Okay,
all
good.
kind
Let's
of
keep it
crashed.
real here. Let's keep it real. What was it? An attack, or just the competition? Did you make a huge mistake, or what happened?
Yes, I made a huge mistake. Totally my fault, because when I started building this brand was focused on accessories for a kitchen appliance. And what I didn't think about is that my sales are going to be totally dependent on the sales of that kitchen appliance. Under no circumstances I can sell more accessories than the
Yeah.
appliance is sold. And so what happened is in 2021 and 2022, the appliance sales were growing and they were doing a lot of social media. So my sales were growing with me not really doing anything. Like I didn't do any social media for my brand. But in 2023, from the beginning of 2023, for whatever reason, their sales started dropping. Like every month, less and less and less. And by the end of the year, I think they also lost like 40 or 50% of their sales.
And your
so the
sales
same
were
happened to my
100%
sales.
reliant on theirs.
Yeah. Yep. The same. And anything I was trying to do, I tried to do social media. I tried to do Google ads. I had an agency, but nothing really, was just a waste of money basically, because their product wasn't selling. So my products were not selling. And my brand was 100% focused on accessories around that
one.
kitchen
Wow.
appliance.
Okay.
So like I had eight products, I think, by the end of 2022, and they all were related to that kitchen appliance.
Interesting. And so then you like, how do you pivot from something like that? It's like, your whole concept of your brand is around this one thing, and then here you are trying to build your brand, but then like, wait a minute, this is not the direction I need to keep going, or else I'm going to keep going down.
Yeah, I spent several months on trying to think about what to do about it. I was like, oh, do I just dump it all and just start it all over? But then like I had a patent pending for 2 of the products because they were selling really well. And it was really my like design idea that I totally made from scratch. And I was like, I don't really want to dump it, because who knows, maybe like next year their sales will go up again. You don't know.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it, and I just decided to expand into the products that not 100% related to this kitchen appliance, but can be used by the same people, but also can be used by other people as well. So kind of exit the sub niche and get in a little higher niche. So they're still all related, but now I'm not tied to that kitchen appliance.
Yeah. Now, did it help at all that you were in that niche already to like launch these other products? Like were you able to market to your existing customers at all, or was it almost like starting from scratch again?
No, the first product that I launched after that was not 100% related to the other brand, was made for, I actually got the idea from the customers of that brand, but it was also being bought by all other people. So, and sometimes I see that some of the purchases that are made, they're made like 2 products bought together.
Yeah.
The one for the brand and not for the brand. So the first one kind of easy. And then I started expanding a little bit more outside of something totally not related to that brand.
Okay. All right. We're going to come back to you because I want to double click on a couple of those things you're talking about. But now back to Robert. You had mentioned how in around the timing of the last episode you were launching Walmart, and there are thousands of stores. I would assume we're here in August, that it's been over a full year now of Walmart store sales. So how would you say that's gone? Like what kind of gross sales are we talking about just in stores on Walmart? And are we only talking one SKU?
Yeah, so we launched 16 months ago or so with 2 SKUs. Right away, basically, one of those items was the intro offer. What they call that at Walmart is basically the cheapest option of that product at Walmart, right? In this case, a coffee grinder. And from the time it went live, it just started really selling. Just basically, we could see from the data, like Nielsen data, which is like official retail data, not counting Amazon and e-commerce. We could see that our product was the best-selling grinder in the U.S., like across all retail points just because of that Walmart placement, right? Like, so imagine Walmart being, the kind of highest volume retailer, and you're the cheapest or the intro pricing there. So that had what was kind of like a big boom. Struggled to kind of just make sure, basically keeping up with their projections were a lot lower than we actually did end up selling. And I kind of had already predicted that we would sell about, more than they predicted, just because that product did well in any other channel that we put it. And so, just kind of stabilizing that, right? So making sure that through the holidays,
I would always remember your Instagram post. You would be going around to Walmarts all over the country, and you're on vacation and stuff, and go to the shelf where your product is, and look, it's empty. Like we're sold out. Like it's literally flying off the shelves.
Yeah, so that's what was happening, and so because it had one facing, meaning it's on the shelf once instead of like having two of them, and it would sell kind of fast enough that basically it wasn't able to maximize what it could do, right? Because it wasn't available fully, right? So we were missing, maybe 20-25% of sales there until like the Walmart kind of system catches up with it, like their forecasting system. But yeah, it's basically it's bigger than an Amazon business. It's high 7 figures kind of deal, and we're counting wholesale costs, so like not the actual retail. Yeah. So it kind of would be bigger. And the thing with Walmart, there's it's compared to Amazon, it's huge margins. Like it's guaranteed. You're a vendor. There's no middle sort of person there, and just they place every week orders for 42 distribution centers. So like basically every week we get 42 orders, and it goes to all the distribution centers. And then this May, so basically a year later or a little before that, they launched one additional item. So they added one more to two, and now there's 3. And I also went to another line review for next May to hopefully add a couple more items. So it's just kind of working on the retail side there, but separately, I was actually in Puerto Rico yesterday. As I was telling you, meeting with the Walmart Puerto Rico team, because they're rolling out basically a whole section of like 15 items. Like they're actually like taking up a whole section, and that even though there's not that many stores in Puerto Rico, it's a huge kind of way of proving it out. Like hey, we did this over there. How about over here, right? 2 other retailers in the U.S. And that's kind of where the strategy is. So certainly ups and downs. It's not always rainbows and butterflies, as they say. Yeah. That side of the business is great. That's what we've been focusing on for a while. But there's Amazon as well. Not such a pretty picture there, but we're still going at it strong, obviously.
We're going to want to listen to your story on Amazon. But just going back to the Walmart, you might have said this in the last episode, but like I said, I forget things. How was it that you even got into Walmarts before? Like, did you start to sell on Walmart.com? Did, like a buyer at Walmart take notice of you because you were crushing it on Amazon? That's probably the hardest thing for somebody who's interested to get in Walmart brick and mortar is getting on the radar of the buyers and actually getting, in a meeting, unless you win a contest or do that open call or something like that. But how was it that you were even able to get your foot in the door with Walmart?
Yeah, so a little combination of a couple things you mentioned, but essentially we have a broker, okay? And what a broker does, and it wasn't the first broker we had, by the way, and we have one for Target. We have one, these brokers kind of charge a single-digit percentage of sales if they ever sort of get you in the door. Some charge a monthly retainer. In my opinion, I wouldn't go with those. The ones that are like serious, in my opinion, more are the ones that charge you a percentage only if they ever get you in the door, right? And so we had tried one. It didn't work out. I mean, it's the same as us reaching out to the buyers, which we had also done, and they don't really reply. Like all these retailers, at least the biggest retailers, they have once a year kind of reviews, right? So if you kind of get invited to the review, then maybe, they'll review your product. But that has to do with whether they're wanting to change whatever they have on the shelves, whether they're, open to whatever you have, just like a lot of different things. Like, the most common thing to happen is that they don't change anything on the shelf, right? If it's kind of working or, their jobs depend on the performance of what's on the shelf, right? There's not unlimited amount. So they're very picky on what they select in. So that's why it's kind of like an uphill battle to get into the retail shelves. And more nowadays that everyone's pushing for .coms, right? If anything, they'll tell you, oh, go try .com first. That's just kind of like a a cop out to say like, we don't want you on the shelf at the moment. So how it worked with us is basically we had worked with a broker. It didn't kind of work out. Just no motion there, and not to their fault. But another broker reached out and said, hey, I can try to reach out. And he did, and it was regarding our coffee grinders. And they basically said, you can come to Bentonville to present it at our line review in June of that year. And they had seen the product on Amazon. So yeah, I think we were bestsellers or just doing really well compared to other things they had on the shelf. And they invited us for that one product. And of course, when we went, I presented other products, right? So you have like 30 minutes, you set up on a table, and it's like go, go, go. And after that, just kind of, I thought it would be like a lesson learned, sort of like, maybe come back next year, like good job, at least I learned how to do this thing. But they came back with, questions that led me to believe that they were really interested. Like, hey, would you be able to like fulfill a large number of stores if we allocated you that? And, I just said yes. I'd never even, that was our first retailer. Usually they try you out with 100 stores, or you maybe get into another independent retailer and then you kind of work your way up.
Yeah.
But it was one of a weird case where our first retailer was, every Walmart.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to learn how to execute the biggest one first. And so now we feel confident that any other retailer is kind of like, it'll be okay. Capacity, volume, just processing the orders. It was a beast at first, but yeah, that's how it worked out.
Okay, cool.
A long sales cycle. Yeah.
Interesting. Now switching back to Kseniia, like in the old, I remember some of your other products, the way you would kind of find and or launch was, like through Facebook groups and things like that. Like, are you still using that method to like, now that you kind of are going a different path? Like, does Facebook play a role, or how are you finding where the needs are to launch these new products? And then how are you getting the initial eyeballs on your product once you do launch?
Yeah, the first one that I launched after switching of being the accessories for other brand, that was also from a Facebook group. That also was from the same people. But then after that, I realized that I need to find a VA finally, because there was only me before that, and it got kind of hard when I got to like almost close to 7
Remind
figures.
everybody what you did, to do that, so they can kind of have for those who didn't hear the last episode, so they can have a picture of your strategy here.
So before I was finding product ideas, I was on the Facebook groups for that kitchen appliance, and I would just see what customers say. Sometimes, a lot of times, because it was a new brand and there was like basically no accessories for this kitchen appliance, they would just say, oh, have anybody seen this product or this product, that we can't find anything like this on Amazon, we really want it. And then I would go on like Etsy or eBay, I don't know, I checked Pinterest, and I would see people try to make it themselves from like, I don't know, pieces of wood or something like that. So I realized, okay, well, it's great. Then you check the search terms and people actually searching for this product, but there is no options available on Amazon. So that's how all the other products before were.
And then, so what did you hire the VA to do? Just start, just be in all these Facebook groups and Reddits and stuff like that, trying to get information, or what are they doing?
No, the first thing that I did when I hired her, I told her she needs to learn the Project X.
Nice.
I gave her the Project X because I told her that's exactly how I learned how to search for products. So the first thing we did is that she watched the whole Project X, and
love it,
because I wanted her to learn how to find products the way how the Project X was done. Not starting from the product itself, but let's say started from the keywords.
Yes.
So searching for the opportunities and not searching for something that already exists. Yep. And you'll be surprised. I think it's in 2 months. I don't remember how many she actually found, but the one that we're actually going with in 2 months, it's like 10 or 15 products, something like that. That's already past, like we're getting the samples.
Oh, wow.
So that's just not the product ideas. That's actually what we will be launching.
That's awesome.
So she's really great.
Okay. How did you find, I think that's another thing that people will wonder about is, hey, how do I find good VAs who are actually going to produce? Like, did you go to a service? Did you just put a notice up, or?
Yeah, I just went on a website. I forgot how it's called, like jobs.ph or something like that. And yeah, I just did a post that I'm looking for a VA with like a specific requirements. And I actually did like an attention test, let's say. So I put a note in the middle of the resume and tell them that's how they should name the email when they reach out to me.
Nice.
And you'll be surprised, out of maybe 100 people or more that reached out to me, maybe like 5 only actually read.
Yeah.
the job post, and they put it and that was like the first test, and then they did a task trying to find a product. So
Hey, there you go, Robert. There's a tip for your next hiring thing. Like, dude, that's a good test to weed out half of the applications right there. I like it. Okay, cool. So now, now that you've launched some products that kind of are not reliant on that one appliance, what do you project as your sales going to be by the end of this year, on the trajectory you're going now?
yeah, I think we will definitely hit the 7 figures this year. So it should be better than so far. The best year was in 2022 when we got very close. I think it ended with like 980,000 or something like that. And I think we should be more. Yeah, it should be more this year.
Awesome. Congrats.
You got to buy $20,000 worth of goods at that point.
Yeah, you just at the end of the year, just like buy your own product.
Come on.
I mean, you got to hit that number. But hey, that's good. You're going to do it without having to game the system like that this year. Awesome, Robert. Amazon. What's I think let me look at my notes here. Like what you in your first year, I saw you did 2 million on Amazon. You had grown it to like 4 million, which was pretty much Amazon only. If we were just to take the Amazon, not the Walmart, are you up, down?
We're probably slightly down. I would say maybe 15% or so, 10 to 20. Part of that was our own doing, like we had to prioritize. If we ran out of stock, it's not going to be at Walmart stores. Yeah. It's going to be at Amazon, and it's happened a couple times, and that's kind of affected. We had a really kind of high margin sort of products that we've launched, and one of them did extremely well, and we just haven't been able to keep it in stock because it is a new item to our supplier. But like, as an example, we launched it basically like month one with no reviews, just like our branding and running ads. We did almost like $250,000 of sales, and it was profitable, which is crazy. Usually we're used to losing money, even after a while sometimes. But that kind of like margin, there's certain like, we're basically focused more on things that make margin, or things that will basically help us push sales through our website, through other products, or things like that, like our Hero, where we include an insert card and they're able to buy other accessories from us. But yeah, certainly strategy slightly changed within Amazon. Advertising basically just kills a lot of the margins, but we see it as a brand awareness exercise as well. We have a lot of products on the roadmap that are higher margin and just kind of like complementary products and stuff that I think it's a survival of the fittest on Amazon. Thankfully we have always tried to open new channels. It wasn't just Walmart stores. For a while we've done all the .coms. Even as vendors like Target.com, Walmart.com, Macy's, Home Depot, Fair.com. If anyone out there listening, maybe I'll save it for the 60-second tip. But Fair.com, yeah, just all the channels start adding up. And those are higher margin and where you don't have to run ads and stuff. So.
How are you dealing with the year of the fees? It seems, in Amazon, 2024 new inbound fees and low inventory fees, which it sounds like you probably hit because you keep running out of stock, on some items and refund fees and stuff like that. Like, how have you been able to maintain your profitability, or have you been able to maintain your profitability? Have you had to raise prices, or what's going on?
No, we have not maintained the profitability. It's just straight, not on Amazon wise. Thankfully the retail side for us just pays the bills and more. Thankfully, but we see Amazon as, hey, it's tough for everybody. Thankfully we have another side of the business that it's actually our priority, and we're still focused on Amazon, but we didn't keep the profitability necessarily. We can't always just raise prices because we are basically selling on a lot of other channels, so it disrupts the buy box potentially. And it's just one of those things where we just have to optimize on the ad side and just straight up not focus on some SKUs that are kind of loss leaders or could be loss leaders. Now
I'm looking. I'm just looking with Helium 10 here on your store page with X-Ray and I see actually, there's a number of products here that you've launched in the last, year, like I see it says, March of 2024. I see another one here, June of 2024, this coffee scale with a timer. Why somebody, that's got to be a serious person. You're weighing your coffee and you got a timer on it, but whatever. So there's all these unique products.
That product is at Walmart. So that product is at 3,000 Walmart
Wow.
stores.
Wow. So wait, hold on. It just says you launches in June. So does that mean that you actually launched the product on Walmart before Amazon? I love that. You see, I keep trying to tell people that exists. Like some people say, oh no, Walmart is it's the opposite. You can expect less sales and then unless you get into the stores. But there are definitely people out there who launch on Walmart first. But anyways, my point was I see at least 4 or 5 products here that were launched this year. So obviously you're actively, trying to expand the brand. I asked Kseniia the same question. How are you finding these new opportunities? Like, what are you doing to do your market research to say, you know what, this is the next product we're going to try?
Yeah, so a lot to do with, doubling down on what works. For example, the categories that are working, we introduce either variations or new models if we see fit. And then we get a lot of feedback from retailers and pitches that we do to retailers. So we're in line reviews all the time with different retailers, and they tell us we like this product, we don't like this product, or potentially I think we launched maybe like 20 or 15 or 20 espresso sort of accessories, the scale being one of them this year. And that was from basically feedback from a Walmart buyer saying, hey, it'd be nice in the future if we have some espresso tools, that's kind of a trending category or whatever. And we sort of said, we have those kind of coming anyways. Yeah, and then we went and looked for those. So we, I have a lot of products that I've already tested and stuff, basically everything. We're a coffee brand. So anything around the coffee categories, are sort of constantly keeping my eye out, and our factories also like innovating with us. But yeah, it's a lot of prototyping for retailers rather than launching on Amazon and seeing if it works and then sort of then going to pitch to the retailer. So it's a lot more capital efficient, just sort of prototyping things or final sampling and then sort of having them available on your catalog. And then if a retailer wants it, then of course you go to mass production, you go kind of bigger on that and double down on Amazon. But yeah, on the Amazon side, for us, one thing that you probably wouldn't see on the numbers there, but we've been working with a 1P partner where we basically have a lot of margin on, but we don't necessarily account for the sales through our account, so like our item wouldn't necessarily show that, but it says sold by Amazon. So we just started that as of like a month and a half ago or so, and it's been kind of working really well, certainly making a lot of profit, and they're selling as .com as Amazon.com. So that is sort of how we're mitigating the risk, just sort of looking for ways where we're able to keep profitability because categories that need our products, our brand fits in well.
Now, one thing, the last question for you before I go back to Kseniia is I don't know the specifics, but I used to supply Walmart too at other companies I've worked at. But it's not like they pay you a month in advance or even they pay you up front. There's different terms that Walmart needs. And then when they're ordering, 50 units for 4,000 stores or 20 units for 4,000 stores, everybody can do the math out there. We're talking a sizable chunk of change. How do you manage cash flow when you're almost having kind of like to front Walmart and some of these other things and have such a big business with so much turnover? How do you have the capital to sustain, to keep it going?
Yeah, that's the part that hasn't been easy for sure. Financing environment altogether has gotten, tougher for everyone, obviously the higher interest rates and stuff. I just bootstrapped this, so of course even harder, right? And I'm in a sort of categories that are, some would say commoditized unless you have like strong brand, but you definitely are competing against legacy brands that are sold by Amazon. Mm-hmm. So basically a lot of competition in that way. So to scale it, it's not like I had extra sort of profit margins to just dump around and make mistakes and sort of go everywhere. So it definitely took some strategic there, partnering with I would say the biggest lever is our supply chain terms. Our supplier terms are almost unheard of when I tell even much bigger sellers. Obviously, I've taken on debt, and that's been helpful. Decent amount of debt. But the largest chunk that allowed to scale at that point has been the supplier term. So think of, usually you pay your suppliers maybe like 30% deposit and then the 70%, maybe when the goods arrive at the US, if you're lucky, if not when it left China. We pay 15% deposit and then we don't pay the 85% sometimes until 90 days after the goods arrive in the US. So basically, we sell it to Walmart.
That is
Walmart
crazy.
pays us in 55 days. and then we go and pay our supplier essentially. So at any given time, we owe our supplier so much money that it also makes a relationship so that we basically don't have to. We do at least the ones for all. We don't have to do inspections on containers because they're not going to mess it up. If they mess it up, we owe them so much money that it's in their best interest to not. So it keeps that relationship always kind of lopsided in this way. And quite frankly, is the cheapest financing that one can get. Right? It's just basically your supplier taking on the brunt of it. So at some point earlier this year, because of the terms with Walmart, basically Walmart owed us like maybe $1.5 million or something, which is crazy. And you're like, okay, in the next 55 days, every day they're going to be paying some amount, but then we also owe the supplier like hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and then over there this, and then you have to order another container because Walmart's going to reorder, and they're not telling you that, but if it's on the shelves, they're going to start reordering as soon as it starts trickling in. So it's just a huge risk, really. But when it's Walmart stores, I mean, you just have to take it. I always said I'm either going to make this thing, work, kind of do it big, or leave a huge hole in the ground of where it was once. But it's business. I try to remove the outcome from me, or my sort of self-worth, I guess.
Sure. Now, Kseniia, the similar question to you is, you as a smaller up and coming seller, how have you been able to deal with all the new fees? Have you changed your strategy, like about how you send stuff to Amazon at all, or anything else? Or are you just kind of like, just taking the new fees and raising prices, or how are you dealing with it?
Well, generally, when I did the product research before and now, we look only for the products that look at like 40% profit. And obviously that was the profits that I had in 2022. And after all the fees, it just dropped to like 23, probably percent, 23, 25%. I'm very careful with PPC right now. I'm not trying to overspend on it. Plus on the storage. So I'm basically storing for free the products in China after they're being manufactured. So I'm saving money on that.
I think this is interesting. A lot of sellers are kind of like maybe in your shoes right now, maybe just by themselves, or maybe they have one or two VAs. Tell me, how many hours a week are you putting to your Amazon business? How many hours a week is your VA doing? And then like, what are you guys doing? Like how does your week look? Like what? How do you break apart the responsibilities?
So actually, I hired the first VA in April, I think, and I liked it so much that I hired a second one like a month ago. But she's only responsible for like social media because we started doing TikTok and a lot of like UGC content. So the first VA, she does a full time, so 40 hours a week, and the second one is a part time for now because I don't know how it's gonna go because I don't think all the products are fit for like TikTok.
Are you doing TikTok Shop or just like promoting TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok Shop.
Oh, okay. How's that working out for you? I'll go back to the employees part, or the time management one, but how's TikTok?
Well, nothing really yet. We just started like 3 weeks ago, I think, 4 weeks ago. So we just she's reaching out to a lot of influencers and through the affiliate program through the TikTok. So I don't know how many. She probably reached out to like a 200 a day or something like that. So some reply, some don't. So we just been sending out some sample. I think we only got like one video or something like that yet posted. So not much yet.
Okay. One employee is specifically doing social media for you, including TikTok Shop. And the other one, is she just doing the product research like you mentioned before? She has other tasks for you as well.
Yeah. So the first one, she initially was hired specifically for product research, but then we got to the point where we got so many products that we found, but there's not too much money, even though I've taken out the loan, but still there's not enough. Like I don't feel confident yet to get like a huge loan. So we still have to launch like 1 or 2 products at a time. I can't do like go and launch all 15 at the same time because the problem I ran into maybe 6 months ago is a launch product and it started selling a lot better than I expected to. So
cash flow, same thing we're talking about with Robert there. Yep.
Yeah, of course. Well, at the moment where I started losing sales, obviously I didn't have any profit. So that's the moment when I had to decide what I'm going to do. Am I just closing it all down or am I taking a loan? So I decided to get a loan and start launching new products. And then it got better. But also I use a lot of credit cards just because I get points. I figured out the right credit cards to use because I travel a lot. And I honestly don't remember last time I paid for a ticket. Mm-hmm. It's always done through points. So
how are you paying your suppliers with a credit card? Because not everybody
I
knows how to do that.
So I just do it through Alibaba, but I negotiated the terms with them where they covered the Alibaba fee. So I'm not worried about that.
Okay, cool.
But that way I get a bunch of points every month.
Yeah, because I know you and your husband like to travel a lot too. So
Yeah.
so now you're saying all those are you business class on everything too, or?
Most of the times, but not for the short flights.
Okay, cool.
For the longer ones, yes.
Nice. So Robert, as I'm talking to Kseniia and she was talking about TikTok Shop here, I'm looking and I see you're on TikTok Shop too. So how long have you been on there, and how's that been working for you?
Yeah, I think we maybe earlier this year or something like that. Again, we have there's certain products that we know work a lot better for TikTok Shop, and we see it. There's a concentration on a few products basically that work very well there. You have one of them pulled up. We just had inventory issues on those products. Basically, those products are really hot kind of everywhere we put them, and we really haven't been able to push as hard as we can on TikTok Shop. But certainly are gathering a lot of affiliate content, and sales are starting to come in. We see it as a big potential there, certainly. So we're reloading on inventory on those, and for those that didn't know, Fulfilled by TikTok, I think basically they're subsidizing shipping, so you essentially make more margin on certain products as long as you get them above a certain threshold. So it's one of the channels that we're focusing on that's newer.
Okay. We talked before about your goals. So like, what are your goals now for the future of your brand, now that you have like a different direction than the last time we were talking? Like, what are you trying to accomplish at the end of this year other than hitting 7 figures? What's next year look like for you?
We're just gonna try to launch as many products as we can. Our goal is probably 2 to 3 products every couple of months, so like a product a month. So that's why we try to develop, at the same time, we're developing like 5 products, because you never know how it's going to go. And of course, do more social media, do more content, just to get the brand name out there. We just started doing Shopify like a month ago, or no, a week ago, I think. I just started working on a website.
Are you launching any other platforms? Obviously, you're on Amazon, you're on TikTok Shop. You just said you're on Shopify. Are you on Walmart too, or other marketplaces?
Not yet. But yeah, I'm thinking about going there too as well.
Now you've got an inside connection at Walmart. If one of your product takes off, there's somebody who can help you out here. Excellent. What is your favorite Helium 10 tool, Kseniia, or function of a tool?
Probably the audience. That's the one that I use all the time. Is it called audience?
Yeah, the split, like where you ask the questions to the people and say, how are you using that? Like for your images, or just for product ideas, or what are you using that?
Honestly, for everything, both for the product ideas, for the images, because I just think it's so easy. When you're thinking about like the product we find, then I usually do like the drawing and 3D. The 3D image of the product that doesn't exist yet. Then usually all my products are like really designed differently. That's what's on the market right now. And I just upload the image there and I see what people say. And I ask them, would you buy this product? And if you wouldn't buy this product, why not? Or what would you change on this product? And sometimes I see the things that I didn't even think about that.
So you're launching just the 3D rendering and just asking a question on that image, or you're launching it or you're launching it, you're putting it in a poll next to like existing products and asking them, or which one are you doing?
I'm doing both, actually.
Okay.
The first, I just do the rendering and ask them, would you buy this product? And if you would not buy this product, what would you change? Like, how would you make it better for you? And then sometimes I also compare it to the other products that are on the market and ask them which one would they buy.
Interesting.
And a lot of times I do the changes on the product based on what the people say.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, Helium 10 audience, which is, basically PickFu inside of Helium 10, I think is slept on by a lot of people, but that's glad to see somebody's using it. Similar questions to close out before we get to our final 30-second tips to Robert. Like, what's your goals for the brand this year, next year, and beyond?
Yeah, so we're really just doubling down on retail. We have line reviews with different retailers. We're attending different trade shows, not like Amazon trade shows, but like actually exhibiting. We did our first one in Chicago this year that had brought a lot of leads to basically regional retailers and all these new doors where we can just increase our distribution. Within Amazon, just continue to execute our roadmap, and basically double down on the products that are working and like higher margin products. But basically just doubling down on what's working, the brand, the angle of like being a go-to coffee brand versus legacy brands that kind of just focus all over home, all over kitchen. It's really seems to be really hitting a nerve with retail buyers. So that's kind of where we're going.
Nice. And your favorite Helium 10 tool for you or your team?
Keyword tracker. I use a keyword tracker a lot. Market tracker, the original one. So those are my top two, and that's because I have a lot of customization there. And I would say, to answer your other question on what could have maybe some improvement, although I like the interface a lot, is the profits. I think I talked to the team already, but maybe there was some delay there with the advertising numbers being posted. And so profit being a tool that you want to look at almost like real time, as opposed to like a few days back. But overall, I love Helium 10. We use a lot of the tools, the follow-up tool, I hadn't heard of the audience one. We use PickFood from time to time.
It's the same thing. It literally is PickFood just inside of Helium 10. Yeah.
I didn't know that you guys had integrated like that, but a lot of tools that help us keep an eye on the business. A lot of the notification stuff, the daily keyword tracker emails that we get, we really do use all those things.
Awesome.
So.
All right. So now, Robert and Kseniia have been on this podcast for a while, so they know what's coming up next. What is your 30 or 60 second tip? Let's start with Robert.
So my tip revolves around retail or going into retail. But first, I want to talk about a channel called Fair, like Fair with an E at the end.com. To those who haven't heard it, especially if you're selling on Amazon or already on e-com, it's essentially a marketplace for independent stores all throughout the U.S., Europe, whatever, just sort of mom and pops, coffee shops, just any sort of stores that wants to source goods for their store. And it does really well for us. We've sold six figures through there, high margins, and we get pictures all the time from random friends and things that hey, how's your product is in a random coffee shop in the middle of random city, or just in this little store I saw your products. So you get actual feedback on what your products look like on the shelves and which products actually sell, because those products, even though it's going to be a little store, it's going to be on the shelf. So you're going to see which products turn and why they do or do not turn. And that will kind of build up your first book of customers that are actual physical retailers, right? There's a lot of reorders on there. And it's just a great way to get your feet wet, into going to retail. So that's my tip there.
Okay, cool. All right, now over to Kseniia. What is your 30 or 60 second tip or strategy for the sellers out there?
I want to talk about the product development. I want to say that never stop product development. Always have multiple products and a development at the same time, even if your budget allowing launching only one at a time, because there's always going to be something that's going to go wrong. Like the samples might not be made according to the drawings. Suppliers might take a lot longer time to make the sample, or your packaging can get lost in the mail. So, and if something goes wrong with one of the products that you're developing, you always will have another options what to launch.
Kseniia in the past, I know she kind of flies under the radar here, and that's why I love having people on the show. They don't come here with agendas. They're not trying to, I'll have professionals, no problem. People who have agencies, people who do want to make a name for themselves, no problem with that at all. I get good stories, but I also like having people on here who, hey, they're not on here for promotion. They're just trying to help other sellers out here. So Kseniia, I know I don't even have to ask that she doesn't even have any website or LinkedIn for people to reach out to. But Robert, I think you do. So if people want to somehow find you on the interwebs out there, how can they locate you?
Yeah, gladly we'll connect. I love just talking to sellers and helping in any way I can. I always learn as much as I give away, at least. So gladly, please reach out. LinkedIn would be fine. Robert Gomez. Just search for me, and glad to chat.
Awesome. Well, Robert and Kseniia, thank you so much for coming on and sharing, what you guys have been up to. And we definitely want to reach out maybe in 2025 and maybe not together, because I like introducing people to new ones, but maybe we'll connect you with other sellers out there. But thank you so much for coming on, and wish you the most of success in your e-commerce journeys.